Boston's hottest country. Country 102.5.
Country 102.5. Jackson and Hannah, and we are on the bus with guns.
With guns. With the gun
Look
show.
at those guns, man.
I don't know how to respond.
We got Kip Moore.
He's like,
right
I'll
here.
work out.
What do you do to work out? I'm sorry, I got to ask. I'm jealous.
I mean, I just I find a gym in whatever city I'm in. It's usually the first thing I do, or I go rock climbing, or I run stadiums if I'm in a stadium. I mean, I just do different things, but it's usually the first thing I do when I wake up.
Do you rock climb like on actual rocks or just in the gym? Is that a stupid question?
No, it's not stupid. Mainly in a gym. I'm actually in the process of building a rock climbing hostel at the moment at a big rock climbing destination in the States.
That would be awesome. Well, you're so good at building stuff. Your skate parks we saw all about. That's so cool. So are you planning on building those like all around the U.S. or maybe just a couple places or just the one?
Well, you know I built one right here in your backyard, right?
No! Wait!
Yeah, I built one here in Boston.
I missed the memo.
It's all good. I built one here in Boston a couple of years ago.
Shout it out. Where's it at?
So I've done 6 so far, and yeah, I mean I plan. We raised a bunch of money. Me and Tony Hawk did the other day, so we're gonna definitely build some more here coming up within the next year.
Well, I got to support Hannah a little bit because she did just buy her first skateboard at 27 years old the other day, like a couple months ago.
27 years old, busting
Yeah.
my ass. It was fine.
It's
You're going to, right?
it's a tough gig.
Hostels. One thing I love hearing about from you, and I didn't hear deep about it, but when you travel around, you like to stay in hostels and stuff? What's up with that?
I do. It varies. I mean, the whole time I was in Iceland, I was in hostels. It depends on where I'm going a lot of times, but I like to do that. I like to stay centered in that sense, and I like to be around those people usually more than I do in the fancy resorts. That's just not my speed. So, yeah, I mean, and I feel like you get the meat of what the actual travel experience is about.
So what I kind of, where I'm leading with it too, is something that I think I respect a lot out of you is that you do this. You love country music. It made you start making it for a living. You make money off it. You make a living. But what about all the glitz and the lights and all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the truth. I've never cared about it. I don't care about it. Yes, I mean, I didn't have a dime in my bank account for so many years, and I barely got by, and I lived in places that should have been condemned, and I couldn't keep on my heat for winter, and now, I mean, I've written all these songs, and I've traveled, and I've made some money, but it hasn't changed 1 ounce of the way I live and go about my life. And I just don't, I don't care about it, and I definitely don't care about projecting that. I'll never be somebody that's posting fancy cars or private jets it's just not my thing. I couldn't care less.
That's the best, though. That's it, because the worst thing is, for someone, a fan, they can't relate to you if you act that way, if you're too celebrity, too into yourself and into that, because, it's the real people and the music and the actual stories that I think really connect with our listeners that we hear all the time. And, I mean, with your album, Slow Heart, that's all we've heard is it's so personal. Everyone just feels like they can relate to every song on the album.
Do you like it?
I have not listened to the whole album yet. I am going to tell you.
I've got this one figured out.
I'm being honest, though.
I have this one figured out.
I am going to be honest with you.
Just-
Well, no, because when your album came out, there were like 4 albums that all came out on the same day.
I asked you that for reasons because I knew the answer.
Why?
No, so I just wanted to put you on the spot, but it's all good.
Now I'm all embarrassed. Now I'm
No,
going to
it's all-
go
it's all-
hide under a rock. No, but I did want to ask you because I saw you're going to the UK to do some shows, like next week. How is country music different in the UK than it is in the US?
Music. It's not country music. Music is different from region to region as far as the way people internalize it. I mean, I could play 45 miles from here and people are going to internalize it different than they are right here in the city of Boston. So it's not so much that the people are so different. I will say this. I feel that over there they really gravitate towards authenticity. If they sense from the slightest bit that you're being unauthentic, they will walk out. Like it's just, they might not fall for things in a sense that maybe we can on occasion in other parts of the world. And they want to talk lyrics with you when they see you in a bar, things like that. That's really cool. They're not just focused on let me get a selfie. They want to talk about the music. And there's just a little difference in the way they internalize music. It doesn't mean that one's better than the other. You know, it's just that. But like I said, it's each region is different. In the States itself too.
Yeah, I think that's true because I think some people love the music and that's what they're there for. Some people probably don't hear much and they just want to get a picture with you and like they're happy that they're seeing whoever they're, you know what I mean? Like the celebrityism of it. If you could boil it all down, peel all that stuff away and do whatever you wanted to do, what would be the life you would want to live if you could just drop everything and you didn't have to worry about a paycheck?
Music. So that's why I do it. So that I asked myself that a long time ago, and I ask other people that when they're like struggling with. I'm like, you know, whatever job you pick, if you made the same amount of money in whatever job you pick, what would you pick? And that's what you should go do. So music was always my thing. I wanted to write songs. I wanted to perform, and I'm doing that, and I'm making a living doing it, and that's a pretty. I feel extremely blessed.
Is there any of it that just burns you out, like doing these interviews and stuff, like all the stuff you got
They
to
have
do?
to be
Honestly,
hard. No, we talk about this all the time.
I haven't been home. I went home for 24 hours to do the Tony Hawk thing in Nashville, but that's the only time I've been home in a month and a half. So, does it get tiring? Absolutely. I get completely worn out, and I feel drained, and I have to find that something within me to get up on stage and do it every single night. But I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Cool. Hey, man. Well, thank you for letting us come on your bus and invade your space.
Yes.
And have a great time playing
I'll
Lansdowne.
listen to your album. I'm sorry.
Don't
Killing
be
me.
lazy.
I have it on my phone. I'll stream it right now. I buy it right now.
Well, you got to respect that she
I'm
didn't
so
lie.
sorry.
She could have lied and said, I heard it. Then you would have said, what's your favorite song? And then you would have had her.
No, that's why I was like, do I dig myself into a hole? No, I'm really bad at digging. I'm not going.
Hey, he'll never forget this interview, huh?
Cut.
Kip Moore.
Bye.